that's not even an issue for them. But
Well, I came in.
to me, we can't be against developing the land we have. And I've said this before, we don't have much land left, and we have to be smart about developing it. And if that means developing it a little bit differently than it was in the 50s, then we need to be prepared to do that. Because life is different than it was in the 50s.
We're going to move forward. Everybody's growing.
And yes, there's nice things going on. And I wish, you were putting up houses like near the river, and yours aren't quite there, but they're close. They're pretty close. And we've got nice homes going up in other parts of the city, individual. I mean, we can drive around on the, over the Sheffield property. Asbury, there's beautiful, big homes going up. And even in other pockets in Old Castleberry, there's some beautiful homes going up as well. So certainly don't want us to be stuck with a not development kind of reputation among it. So all those are factors that go into my motion.
Okay, so I came in with some reservations about this as well, but I can tell you, y'all did an excellent job in presenting this. We're not going to get everything that we actually want. I would prefer the street to be wider myself, but I understand that it's wider than most of the streets in River Oaks. The quality that it looks like of the house, I think, if got anybody would be proud to live in one of those houses. It's a nice area, and I think it's going to be certainly an asset to the city. And if it's built the way you say it's going to be built, I certainly can support it, and will support it.
So did you second the motion?
I'll second it, because we are growing. We're growing whether we like it or not. I've lived here over 20 years, and I've already seen some changes, and we need to move forward. And I absolutely love the houses. I am worried about the traffic. We live on Yale, and Yale is horrible with the traffic. When you have multi-families live in one house, people do that, but then they're parking in the street, and there's no way to get through. And that is one of my biggest concerns. But the houses are beautiful, and I see the big picture.
The houses are great. Your all's presentation is great. The parking issue, to me, although that's not a through street, so I'm not going to be driving through there like I do Yale. But that's still a major concern. And I don't think it's totally what the majority of the residents want, going by previous meetings. But like I said, that's a beautiful house. Nothing to say bad about that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 1321-2021 with the incorporation of their renderings and exhibits as stated by Councilman Holland and as recommended by City Attorney. So with that, do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
There you go.
Nay.
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 Okay, so that is
How many nays was it?
3 in favor and 2 opposed. So
And everybody had their piece. I would love to tell you that I love what you're doing. I had too many phone calls from people. I'm all for what you're doing. I think it needs to happen, but we've had situations where people didn't vote as the people asked them, and I have a conscience I have to deal with. I apologize.
So with that,
I've got what you talking about. So
it would be 3-2 in favor, but it takes a supermajority to overturn what the PNP did. So it does ultimately fail.
So it's a fact.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I would say, I don't know, I heard what you said earlier, if you would like to take, I think that what Steve had mentioned about as far as it going before the PND as a final project, if want to do that, I don't think that would be a bad idea, but certainly respect whatever your
We've,
time and efforts are.
we're in the excess of thousands of dollars, I mean, to get to this point and to present to you guys some of the last minute, exhibits. I just want you guys to know, I don't care if you stick every single exhibit in there, you know, I mean, we're people of our word, we're not trying to do anything shiesty. We came to the city with more than, you know, 2 projects. We're on project 3. I just sent Marvin a project for a commercial, professional plaza that I'd like to do. But yeah, guys, I think this is kind of the end, I mean, for us. We have to put our resources, we have to put the gas where the fire's going, and if it's not, you know.
And just to point that out from the process, it would be, obviously, most things the council votes on 3-2, it would pass.
Yeah.
So,
Because
if
it's
the P&Z, and if P&Z saw it and approved it, and, but I'm just.
No, I get it, but the conversation tonight was enjoyable. The conversation with P&Z, and rightfully so, I guess, you know, it is different, was not. And like I said,
So
thank you guys.
so the thing, a takeaway for you, this is the developer, okay? The way our rules work is if they recommend something against, as far as the supermajority. So, and this isn't, I'm not saying, just something to think about is if you heard headwinds before it went to P&Z about that 40-foot, and you could have made that change before, and you got them on a 3-2 approval, then see, and it came to council with 3-2 approval, then it would have went through. See, the supermajority wouldn't have kicked in, is all
No,
I'm saying.
guys, I totally get it. It's,
Okay.
yeah, okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Take off.
Thank you to our audience at this point.
Well, this brings your taxes.
I live in Fort Worth, y'all are raising mine. City of Fort Worth's doing that for me.
Don't tell me that.
That's knowledge.
But I'm just saying, if I'm
Okay, so we will move to item number 8, which is to discuss the 2021 tax rate and to take the record vote. Mark?
Okay, this year was a nightmare, I might as well tell you.
That's a running theme, yes.
I have worked continuously with, tax, they had software issues, they finally got all that resolved. It was looking like I wouldn't have to you the final calculation I do, but I still don't have it signed by Wendy Burgess. But we know the numbers are right, we're just waiting on her to sign it. Basically, what comes into play this year is what's called unused increment rate. It came into play last year, but it's in play this year for us. What that means is there were 3 years, 18, 19, and 20, of which we did less than our formerly what was called rollback rate. Now it's called the voter approval rate. We were less than that amount, so you get so much added on to your total rate. And by doing that this year, it ended up coming up by using that formula, our voter approval tax rate max that we can have without an election is going to be 0.707687. That's a little bit more than what you have now on the tax roll, which is 0.697374. But if you do, and the budget I have put together, and you would just be proposing this amount tonight, does not mean it's the final amount. After the public hearing, you can look at that and lower it. But if you don't set it at the top, of course you couldn't raise it anymore anyway because you kick yourself into an election. This is the max that you could put it at, to propose it at, which would be the 0.70 that I gave you tonight. That would result in a general fund budget in the black by $89,014. So there's a little